Welcome home, Rep Pack. Marcus here, and welcome to Comfort Cartoons, the show where I collect absolutely everything from the late 90s, 2000s, all the way to the modern day. But not just that, I'm trying to create the world's biggest SpongeBob and also Nickelodeon collection. And not just that, the creator of this channel also has her very own cereal product. But I hope you guys are having an amazing day, and if you're not, you know the drill. SpongeBob Food Products Camera Flip.
Have a party in your kitchen every night with new SpongeBob Squarepants or take a taco kit.
But as I said, today we are going to be diving into all the different SpongeBob food products. I am going to be trying to cover as many of them as I possibly can, but most importantly, document all the ones that we currently have in the collection. And what you see before you is but a mere taste, food pun intended, of what is in the SpongeBob food collection. There is more stuff that I have inside that I would consider my documentation room, also my kitchen, where I'm also keeping a bunch of other SpongeBob food products that we can no longer contain here in the Galay Grub. So we're going to be going through those as well, and as we go through the different categories, I'm going to talk about some of the other stuff that exists that I don't have in the collection. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get into all of this food. And I think the best place to start off for any of the SpongeBob foods is going to be the SpongeBob cereal. So we're going to get into that first because that's probably the most iconic item and what a lot of people grew up either seeing or trying at some point in their life. And as we do this video, if you grew up and had any of these snacks, make sure you let me know in the comments down below which ones you had or which one was the first one you ever tried. So before we get started, today's video is sponsored by Liz, which is actually a brand that makes collector series watches. And one of the main reasons I did this sponsor is because they do exactly what we love here. They dive in deep when it comes to Sponge, but not just Sponge, Nickelodeon as well. These watches right here are ones they sent me over a year ago. They're just so unique and fun to look at, but they're not the watches that you remember getting from your Kellogg's boxes or at a Burger King. The quality is incredible. So these are the old ones they sent, and as you guys can see, it's very unique as well because it's also a line in Mexico. So it's very, very unique, and you can still order it from here in America as well, but it's not every day you get to get a nice, high quality licensed item from another country. So they sent two new watches for us to check out. I'm gonna share them with you guys right now. Number one here, I already opened the box, so I can't lie, I was a little bit excited to see what was in here. They changed the box style, and the watches have only improved in quality. And of course, they couldn't go without sending King Reptar. This one, the Reptar watch. This one is incredible. I love it so much. The old box is really good for uniformity and just being able to stack them all together and stuff, but this one gives you a way to actually see the full detail of the band. You've got so many details on here, and it gives you a nice little slide out feature where you can actually see the entire watch in its beauty. And even because of that, I'm just gonna keep this box so it's just fresh, but it has so many little details on it. It has replaceable bands, one for those that have a smaller wrist like yours truly, or a really, really big one as well if you need a little size adjustment. But you can see over here, man, the dial on this is all metal. The backing of it, like I said, is all metal, and I love the detail on it. Right here on the top, it says RAR, of course, and then you've got the little Reptar fossils throughout the entire thing as well, and the little footprint patterns, very, very dinosaur-esque. You even have a fossilized leaf right here. If we look at the watch closely, you can see that the actual numbers and little hour counters are also that very, very polished and awesome look. But not just that, they sent us an early version of Danny Phantom watch. So this one looks incredible. As you can see there, it slides on out the same way, and you can see all the different ghosts you could find inside the ghost zone. You know, he was trying to catch them all after Ash Ketchum. And not just that, this one happens to be signed by the creator himself, Butch Hartman. So an incredible piece here to add to the collection. And that's not the end of the ghost talks though. They wanted me to do this video to promote the brand new Flying Dutchman watch that is coming out, and you guys know he is my favorite secondary character in SpongeBob, so the fact that they're representing the Flying Dutchman is amazing. They have other SpongeBob ones as well, but the Flying Dutchman one also glows in the dark, which is a very appreciated feature. I was in on it for just the Flying Dutchman aspect, but glow in the dark, that's even more Dutchman-esque. But they have Hey Arnold as well, and they've done so many other Nickelodeon ones throughout this time in addition. So I wanted to bring up this sponsor because whenever we do a sponsor, Patreon, all the stuff that we do makes these videos possible. So thank you so much to Liz for sponsoring this video. And if you guys want to pre-order that Flying Dutchman watch or any of the other watches they have coming out, check out the link in the description where you can pick one up yourself and get an awesome, really cool and unique item to add to your collection. So first up, we have the SpongeBob cereal original, of course. I think this is the one that most people grew up with. I just think it's so iconic, and I love having it on display in the room here and also in my own personal kitchen. But taking a closer look, it was released in 2003. There was an ad campaign, even a commercial to actually promote it.
Introducing new SpongeBob Squarepants cereal.
And on the front here, when you look at the box, you'll see it's the original SpongeBob logo. But not just that, you can actually peel the front off to get a couple different looks at SpongeBob. So depending on which box you got, the image behind that peel back would actually change. Here's a couple images on screen of some of the other variations that they released. As you guys can see, it's kind of a little bit of a Lucky Charms ripoff. It comes with a base multigrain cereal, which is shaped after jellyfish, of course. And it also comes with SpongeBob, which just is like a square that's like half brown and half yellow. I guess that's SpongeBob. Patrick, and of course the iconic pineapple, which they did add an additional character into the next box that I'm going to be showing up here. And we're going to keep in mind these calories. This one per serving with fat-free milk is 160 calories per serving. But on the other side, you'll see there's a huge variation of other SpongeBob Kellogg products that you could pick up. Many of, or actually all of, which you're going to be seeing in this video as well. Okay, and then on the back, it has a bunch of different information about other SpongeBob characters, and they took a straight page out of the Pokemon book, and a lot of the early branding for kids' cartoons was very much about making kids understand and learn about the world, so much to the point that it made them more interested in the show. I could show you so many different SpongeBob encyclopedia books, so many different SpongeBob trivia books, which are all just loaded with information about the characters. It's almost like a poker rap for Pokemon, where if you make a rap out of it and kids learn all their names, you're going to be more attached and more interested in that property once you feel like it's a part of your identity and a part of what you like. And also there's a little game on the back you can play. You can see where you're trying to identify and be prejudiced against jellyfish by trying to find which jellyfish is slightly different color. I don't know if I feel that one, but either way, it's a lot of fun. And I think what I'm going to end this on is this little note about Sandy, who says, "I'm hotter than a hickory smoked sausage." And when it comes to the SpongeBob cereals, at the end of this section of SpongeBob food products, we're going to talk about the ones I don't have in the collection, and also the other ones that were released, because there were some that were in between these two, or even earlier, and some even later that I do not have in the collection, and I'm still looking out for. So for the SpongeBob movie cereal, you can see the animation style has completely changed on the front of the box, where it's got the more clean-cut look that they had for the theatrical film itself. But even though the branding has changed for both boxes for the imaging, Squidward will always be doing the thing, whether it's in the original box or the new box. And that's just a little joke we have on this channel, because throughout the history of SpongeBob products, you will see Squidward doing this same pose at about 70% of the products. But the cereal is pretty much identical to the original cereal, with the addition of Plankton now being one of the marshmallow variants. Calories are exactly the same, and as I said with the first box, they just kind of give you information to get you more ingrained in that world. On the side right here, we have information on some of the newer characters that were added for the SpongeBob film, including Mindy, who we never see again after the SpongeBob movie. And, well, actually we do in little small snippet Easter eggs, but she doesn't talk. You know, Scarlett Johansson, she's busy these days.
Watch the road.
But taking a look in the box, this is back in the good old days where we didn't have cell phones, so we weren't sitting eating our breakfast and watching YouTube videos while also texting our friends, while also taking an Instagram picture of our cereal. Back in these days, you look at the back of the box and you just try to have fun that way somehow. And then to even make you further understand and learn the characters' names, there's actually a crossword puzzle where you fill them in based off the characters' names, so you can even further remember each individual and have more interest in the show. And fun little fact, they spelled Krusty Crossword, which is a little wrong, because whenever they use the word Krusty in SpongeBob, it's actually with a K. And what as a collector, I really love consistency. Like, if they could just make all the boxes identical but with slight variations, that would make me happy. So I really enjoy the fact that looking at the top view of the box, they are pretty much identical and they are very symmetrical to one another. So they just go perfectly with one another in a collection. And I know I'm asking too much for them to make every box like that, but it's nice on this one. Okay, then next up here we have the 2014 SpongeBob cereal called Fruity Splash. And once you get past like 28, almost every food product name will in some way incorporate water or bubbles or bursting or some kind of a water pun. And you'll see that as we trend on to some of the other products later. But this cereal makes me feel very old, because I actually picked this up in the store when it was available in 2014. And now this is almost 10 years old. Our cameraman behind the screen here just updated me on that, and I was like, wow, he's right, that is old. Not just that, you guys can see it has the modern artwork on the screen right there for SpongeBob. And of course, I am a fan of SpongeBob from the beginning till end. And you know what stays consistent throughout all those years, from the 2004 cereal to the 2014 cereal? Squidward is still doing the thing. He's slightly shaded though. We gotta give him that. And this does not stop. Wait till you see the 2020 cereal. We'll get to that when we get to it. But this would be the most healthy option of the cereals, considering that it is only 140 calories, but the serving size of that one was 1 cup. This one's 3/4 cup, and it's with skim milk, not fat-free milk. On the back, like I said, they've stayed consistent throughout all these years. When you have something that works, you stick with it. So on the back again, you have trivia for all the different characters. Rapid fire, Mitchell. SpongeBob drives her crazy.
Miss Puff.
Yes, it is Mrs. Puff.
Puff.
Mrs. Puff, yes, hey, she's married. She's a married woman. We don't see her husband, but Mrs. Puff. And you guys have seen all the different side angles of this box, but this one was not made by Kellogg. It was made by General Mills, and it even has the classic box topper you can see right there that we all used to cut out and never really bring to our school. We just have a whole baggie of them in our kitchen and we just forget about it eventually. And all of those 3 cereals I have tried. And I am not talking about tried like back when they came out. I'm talking about I tried them just maybe 3 or 4 years ago. Really good. It's actually really good. I'm gonna spit it out. Some aftertaste is, the after never stops. You just live with it. Okay, so this is the perfect time to talk about the variant cereals. There are several cereals that came out in the UK. Even Dubai, there was a cereal that came out as well. Like, for example, the SpongeBob chocolate cereal. That was released in Dubai. There's several cereals that came out in the UK. Australia, they've all had their own variants in some cases, just based off of what they think would be more popular in that market. And for example, here I have this cereal, which is the SpongeBob Corn Flakes, which is actually from Turkey. It is still available today, actually. It's from 2021. And it's a fun fact, this has 2 out of the 3 essential vitamins of your kid needs daily. You just give him 2 bowls of this, and you don't have to feed him nothing. And this one is 110 calories and 4 grams of sugar, which is significantly less than any of the cereals that were released in America, as one might assume. So finally, we have the newest version of the SpongeBob cereal that was released in the United States, and that is the SpongeBob Squarepants cereal, vanilla flavored with marshmallows. They went straight back to the old school days with releasing a SpongeBob, Patrick, and pineapple marshmallow, but they did ditch the jellyfish multigrain cereal. And it is also, they went back, they left the General Mills family and they went back to Kellogg's for this release, which I think is the coolest part about this. And it gave everybody who grew up with SpongeBob a chance to retry their favorite cereal growing up, or at least my favorite cereal growing up. And like I said, all the way from 2003 to 2022, almost 20 years, you can depend on one thing. The world may be crazy, things may change, things may come, things may go, but you can always rely on Squidward doing the thing.
Now in CGI.
Now in CGI, they did not hold anything back. They had to bring it back on the SpongeBob movie cereal for the movie. And this again was released for SpongeBob on the Run. And this one has the highest calories of any cereal so far, being 200 calories per serving. And due to our man behind the camera here, I got lucky and I actually have the Sam's Club variant of the box, which actually has 2 boxes in one. Because on one box you could get actually Patrick, and on another box you could get SpongeBob. So this box contains both variants of the boxes and actually shows both sides having both characters, which is just really, really cool. But I have to say, if I look back at the original box, comparatively, this one of course has a more nostalgic vibe, but the branding, they did not hold back, and I personally think they did an amazing job on the modern cereal as well. I know SpongeBob modern days, you get a lot of heat for a lot of different reasons, but they could have gone a way lazier route of doing this. So the fact that they brought so much nostalgia back with this box really reminds you of the times when they actually kind of cared about cereals. But I will say there's no games on this one, right? There's no games or trivia.
Unless you get lucky and they're on the actual inside one.
Yeah, unless they're on the inside, which I do not know, so I'm not gonna open this one up. I did try this cereal as well, but I don't remember if there was actually a game on the back. And like I said, when we're done with this segment, we're gonna be covering all the other ones that we did not have in the collection or that also came out. But we have one more, and this one's technically not a SpongeBob cereal because it doesn't actually change change in any regard as far as the cereal goes. But in 2021, they released the Cinnamon Toast Crunch Squared, which has an incredible box, and it came with a display case. These cereal boxes were about $40, which is a lot for a cereal box. So the fact that it came with a display case made it feel a little bit more worth it. But my favorite thing about this box is the fact that you actually get not only a very beautiful image of SpongeBob, a modern image there, but it actually has a holographic pattern on the front of the box, in addition to the side of the box having a giant holographic squared logo. And on the back, it has our Employee of the Month SpongeBob, which is just so iconic, and I'm so glad that they actually did a three-dimensional design for the box. And then of course you have to put the calories and stuff like that per legality. So we have that as well, and this one is now our number one with 210 calories per serving. So that is our highest so far on the calorie scale. But I mean, does anybody eat Cinnamon Toast Crunch because it's healthy? It's just freaking delicious. That is my favorite cereal. It probably always will be my favorite cereal. So when they made this collaboration, I was super excited to get it. And they also released with it this SpongeBob spatula, which if you just had this sitting on your counter, somebody would be like, why the hell do you have a Cinnamon Toast Crunch spatula? Like, what could that possibly have to do with each other? But if you turn it around, they have SpongeBob on the back, and this little combo makes for an awesome display piece. But like I said, it just feels so premium that it has the display case. But I do expect that in the future there will be way more of these around than there will be of some of the other boxes, because of the fact that it does come with that display case. And with all the foods that we talk about and discuss today, what makes food products so rare is that with a lot of products, if they don't sell, they get liquidated, and a lot of time they can end up in warehouses where they're in boxes and don't get open for several years, and then they become, you know, new old stock, and they could be still vintage products that are around for several years. But when it comes to food products, 99% of the time, whenever it becomes expired, they can't liquidate it, they can't do anything else with it besides throw it away. So the only way that we have some of them available for visual need and for documentation is psychos that keep them in their garage and the kitchen. I don't know any of them, but it's crazy. And there is also some fun facts along the bottom for the Cinnamon Toast Crunch cereal as well. SpongeBob has won Employee of the Month 26 times, which is a number that has changed several times. That number of how many times he's won Employee of the Month has been documented as at least 10 different answers.
Well, let's ask my wall of 374 consecutive Employee of the Month awards.
We tried our best to get as much stuff out of the vault as we could possibly, but there is still some stuff that we could not get out of the vault, whether it be lost, not lost, but unfindable in the vault, or also just tucked away so far that we couldn't get it. So there are some items that we are missing that are in the collection today, but overall, I'm gonna cover everything as much as I can. Let's talk about some of the cereals we didn't have here physically to talk about. So for the first iteration of the SpongeBob cereal, the one that I showed you guys at the start of this segment, there was other box variations they did make for that cereal that are really, really rare and hard to find at this point. Again, being the fact that they're cereals and they had a way shorter release date than the first box or the movie box did. They're for the absorbent favorites, and they're episodic based cereals. So they're cereals based off of the episodes themselves. There's 3 box variants that we're gonna have on screen. The only one I've ever actually seen somebody have in their collection, it's the Rip Pants ones. I've never seen any of the other ones really in somebody's collection. Not just that, we also have the Dubai chocolate cereals I mentioned. We have the SpongeBob Sugar Flakes that were made in Dubai as well. And for whatever reason, I have never seen this one existing, but apparently it was made by General Mills. I've never seen a box of this, but that is pineapple upside down cereal. I've never seen that. Me and Mitchell are always on the lookout for SpongeBob products. Never have I heard about the pineapple upside down cereal or heard anybody who has tried it, but I would love to get that one in their collection just because it's such a weird, newer variant. So like I said, there may be other SpongeBob cereal variants that are out there, but we just wanted to cover as many as we could, considering we have so much other stuff to cover, and especially cover and document the ones that we have in the collection as of today. But let's go ahead and move on to our next category, which is gonna be SpongeBob breakfast foods. Since we just went ahead and went through cereals, let's go ahead and go into breakfast foods that are outside the cereal game. The first one is probably the most iconic one, and that is the SpongeBob SquarePants strawberry banana waffles. And these are made by Eggo, Kellogg's again, and I still eat these today. Like, I still eat Kellogg's waffles now. So I am a huge fan of this. I think Eggo waffles are delicious, and they're super simple. Waffles take forever to make, and they're a lot of mess, but man, is a toaster easy to use. And also, it's a SpongeBob toaster, but yeah. Besides that, these are the original ones right here from the first era. These ones were released in 2004, and again, are strawberry banana flavored. I don't know if Eggo's actually ever made strawberry and banana Eggos any other time besides this, but it's super cool to see that they made like kind of a interesting choice though. They didn't go with like pineapple or something something like that. The strawberry banana to me doesn't necessarily scream SpongeBob, but hey, you throw SpongeBob in the box, you put the SpongeBob OG logo on there, and I guess they're SpongeBob waffles, and they're also limited edition. And this is one of the few items that I do not still have in the packaging. This is just the box, and I think that is one of the few things where I'm okay with that, because I don't think that the Eggo wrappers, nor would Eggos hold up, but either way, it's cool just to have this little memento of the product. And I never had these growing up, nor did I ever eat them growing up like many of the products on here, so it's cool just to be able to reminisce on what I think it could have tasted like. So next up in breakfast is the Pop-Tarts. I don't know if Pop-Tarts are considered a healthy breakfast at all, but like I said, when you eat a licensed food product, I don't think you're aiming for health, but these ones are incredible. And I actually happen to have the box thanks to an awesome member of the Rep Pack, our man King Don, who's also a supporter on Patreon. So thank you so much, Don, for sending this box over. I'm so glad to be able to archive it here in the collection, just to have all the branding and stuff like that here to represent. So this is the SpongeBob Pop-Tarts. These were released in 2005 for the SpongeBob movie, as you guys can see. The box itself did not hold back again. On the side here, of course, you've got all the nutritional facts, and again, we get our next water-related flavor, Bubbleberry. Wild Bubbleberry, that is. And it was mostly to promote the VHS and DVD version, which is why it's a little bit later after the movie was released. And you can see it's got SpongeBob peeking over the top there. But not just that, the Pop-Tarts themselves actually happen to have SpongeBob, Patrick, and Sandy as sprinkles onto the Pop-Tarts themselves. And you guys know me, I'm always happy when they incorporate Sandy, because they don't really incorporate her in a lot of stuff. But it's interesting they did it for the SpongeBob movie, considering she has such a small role in the SpongeBob movie. But the box itself, there's actually a little cutout you can do with Patrick right here. You've got the jellyfishing net, you have a little kelp bar right there, but also we have this blue surfboard, which we actually also saw on the SpongeBob waffles as well. It's the same surfboard that is on both of them, and I think that's because they're both Kellogg's, and that's just probably the images they had to select from. But a very, very cool one, and the box is 100% recyclable, but I ain't never recycling this. I'm not letting it end up in some landfill in another country. So there's also some other SpongeBob breakfasts that came out back in the day, and we'll be talking to this again at the end of this segment. I'm going to be featuring a couple more items here. Again, this isn't everything that we could, but this is what we could acquire from the collection right now. And next up, I feel like since we just talked about the Pop-Tarts, we have to talk about the new version of the Pop-Tarts. These are the SpongeBob Sponge on the Run movie Pop-Tarts. And this was made by Kellogg's as well, and they did such a great job on the SpongeBob cereal and giving it the nostalgic vibe and making it the same. I don't know why they didn't just make the same exact ones for this release. They went with, again, never stops the ocean puns and the flavors, sea berry. I'm pretty sure it's the same flavor as a wild bubbleberry as well, but on these ones, what they did do, they actually printed different characters on the Pop-Tarts themselves. But I'm not gonna lie, these ones to me look way more appetizing than these ones do. Like the sprinkles, like that's a little small touch, and it's got the blue like they're swimming in the ocean. This one just looks like white glaze with like what you can clearly see as dye to make the image. So if I were to pick, I would pick these ones all day, and I'm not even saying that from a nostalgic standpoint. These just genuinely look more tasty. Next up, we have these guys wrapped up because these all came out recently, so I wrapped them up under the plausibility that something might leak out, and I didn't want it to get on my shelf or any other of my SpongeBob products. But so far, it looks like there hasn't been any leaking. These are the SpongeBob Nutri-Game bars, and I guess we put this in the breakfast category.
It's a soft baked breakfast bar.
Yeah, it is breakfast kind of. It's probably like something you could eat all day long. I remember having these in my lunch as a kid, and not just that, they're not really that healthy for you, but at the same time, they look healthy.
That's what matters.
And that's what matters. And there's nothing we can compare this to, but a fun little additional piece on this one is that it actually gave you a $13 movie ticket when you buy 5 products, which would be several dollars more than the $13. But if you had to buy them anyway, or maybe for like a school cafeteria, they could just kind of give out the coupons. But a fun one nonetheless, and this one is just strawberry. No splashing, no dipping, no anything besides just strawberry.
But I see a trend that they really like going with Kellogg's.
Kellogg's be doing it, you know? Kellogg's is the #1 breakfast brand, I feel like, in the world. I wouldn't be surprised. Or at least in America, for damn sure. And again, there's so many SpongeBob food products. Right here, I'm going to show you in Japan, they actually released a SpongeBob waffle maker. We have it right here in the collection. You can make mini waffles. It looks a little oily. I've cleaned this thing like 6 times. There's just oils in that metal. And this came out a while ago, like in 2009. But there's other SpongeBob food making products they've released. But again, I'm just talking about some of the ones that we have here in the collection accessible. successful. And this one right here is the SpongeBob pancake maker. And you guys have seen over the last 6-7 years on YouTube, pancake making has become a phenomenon. People making their own style pancakes, making challenges out of it. So Nickelodeon took all the work out of it and they're like, hey, you can just make the whole damn pancake look like SpongeBob right here. And that's the end of the stuff that we're gonna be showing off here for the SpongeBob breakfast products, besides our honorable mentions that are not here in the collection. And the honorable mentions being in the UK and some places in the US, they released breakfast nuggets. How does one make breakfast nuggets, Mitchell?
I guess it's supposed to be like chicken and waffles. Yeah, I don't know.
It's not though. I guess it's supposed to be because it's shaped and formed breaded white meat chicken nuggets, but they're maple flavored.
That just doesn't sound good.
It sounds foul. Another honorable mention is the SpongeBob cream of wheat. And also finally, the Pure Grow organic SpongeBob oatmeal. So our next segment, after you get done with the breakfast, you would go on to, you know, maybe having a snack here or there before you get to lunch and dinner. So let's go ahead and talk about different SpongeBob snacks. So covering SpongeBob snacks, there's even more than there is for the breakfast or even the cereals. There is an unbelievable amount of snacks. I'm just gonna cover some of the ones we have here in the collection. And at the end, again, we'll go over some of the ones that aren't in the collection, some of the ones that have existed. But as I continue to go through them, just know that there's even more than that. There are so many, you wouldn't believe it. But right up here, we have these SpongeBob Cheez-Its. This is personally one of my favorites because my favorite things to collect of the SpongeBob foods for a long time were all of these SpongeBob foods you saw on the side of the SpongeBob cereal, because these are the ones that I remember the most growing up, and I've been very fortunate to slowly collect all of them. So now I've kind of, you know, what happens once you acquire the thing that you've been addicted to, you form a new addiction. You start collecting everything else. So now that I have all those, I just look outside of that stuff. But the SpongeBob Cheez-Its box is iconic for me. I remember eating these all the time with my sister and my cereal. But the box itself has SpongeBob on it, and when it comes to the SpongeBob Cheez-Its, there were several different SpongeBob Cheez-Its that were released. And like I said, it's just like Pokemon. They really took, I feel like, a lot of inspiration from the Pokemon marketing, and just because right before the SpongeBob series was, you know, released, Pokemania was huge. So you saw the same thing for Pokemon when it came to their Pop-Tarts, when it came to their jelly jars, when it came to their macaroni and cheese. They released multiple variants for you to collect, which only made you more interested in trying to learn more about the series, but not just that, try them all. And I think that was really one of the smart note they took in order to make SpongeBob as successful as it is. And as you can see, the actual Cheez-Its themselves have SpongeBob on them, and it's just really, really cool. I mean, I would never want to eat SpongeBob considering he's my favorite character of all time, but make him cheese flavored with a very buttery crust, and I might be tempted, and I was, and I did. So really, really enjoyed the Cheez-Its. But honestly, what I actually preferred as a kid was good old cheese nipples. So we got cheese nips right here, and these were the ones I enjoyed the most as a kid. These ones are delicious, and of course you've got SpongeBob Surfing, but because these are made by Nabisco, I don't think they were able to use the same iconic blue and light blue surfboard, so they changed the surfboard ever so slightly. And of course you've got SpongeBob, Patrick, Squidward, and also Sandy again as a variant, which I think is so cool they added her in there. And you could have just got regular old Cheez-Its right here with no kind of gamble, but with the cheese nips you had a grand prize giveaway, which was so iconic for the 90s and 2000s. Almost every food we ate had some kind of implication where we could go on a cruise or a flight to Florida, and there was always some kind of grand prize with everything. And then in the back you'll see the different prizes you could win. 100 grand prizes. So they are claiming that 100 people went on grand prize cruises to the Caribbean. 100 people. There is no way they sold enough cheese nips to afford to send 100 people on a Caribbean cruise. I just don't believe that. If you are one of those people, reach out to me and we will do a whole video dedicated on you. I would love to learn more about that process, how it went through, what happened. Please, only if you're honest, of course, don't lie, you know, I'm gonna be asking for proof. So that would be an amazing video for us to be able to do. But not just that, if you didn't get the Caribbean cruise, 1,000 people won a spy camera. And I don't know why spy gear, the brand was huge at this time. For some reason, as us as kids, we just wanted to be deceptive. We just wanted to be able to film things and see things we weren't supposed to. I think it's like you just don't have a lot of options as a kid, and you have to just like, the only way you can do the things you want is if you sneak to do it. So it's about the power that you have with those spy cameras. And then the final prize, if you were just one of the bronze medalists, you got in water walkie-talkie, which isn't even SpongeBob themed. They're just walkie-talkies that look like fish fins. And if you guys want me to do a video on reviewing the spy camera glasses and also the fins, let me know. Maybe we'll do that its own video, is looking at all the grand prizes you could have got for this. And who knows, maybe if one day in the future we have the budget for it, we can go on a Caribbean cruise as well. Next up, we have the animal crackers, which this is actually sea animal crackers because it comes with SpongeBob, Patrick, Gary, Squidward, and again, Sandy. And these ones are sent in by Don the Whale, as well as the fact that we have this guy right here, which is also the animal crackers, but I believe these are from 2004, and these ones are from 2009. So these are the original ones right here, and these are like still pretty old, but these are the original ones, and they kind of kept the design the exact same, the same character variants, the same exact designs for them, but I wanted to feature both variants on here. This one actually came with like a little lunch handle you can see kind of popping up over here, and it actually advertises that there's 5 different characters, and of course it has a classic maze on the back as well. And you can kind of tell just by the imagery based off of this one and this one the era differences. And on the back of this packaging, you can see there's actually a little game you can play where you try to find all the Krabby Patties that Plankton hid throughout the Krusty Krab. Okay, so SpongeBob fruit snacks. These ones were released in the early tins. These were released in the late tins. And we also had just recently released the SpongeBob fruit roll-ups. But again, just like with all of the products, there are several different SpongeBob fruit snacks that were released. The ones I'm on the look for though are the original SpongeBob fruit snacks that came out with the Nickelodeon fruit snacks line that contained Fairly Odd Parents and also Jimmy Neutron. They even had a whole ad campaign about it, and you might even remember it.
The carnival is back in town.
Stop, Patrick! Don't touch it! This isn't the carnival, Patrick. Those are hooks.
I ate those so much growing up, so I would love to get that box in the collection. If you're somebody out there that happened to keep one of those boxes, reach out to me. I would love to be able to pick it up from you. When it comes to SpongeBob cookies, there is a lot of those as well, including a green and white label era where they're actually handcrafted little SpongeBob cookies. This right here is the SpongeBob chocolate chip cookies that were released in 2018. And more recently, we had the SpongeBob soft baked bars, which is very cookie-like, that are actually not really anything SpongeBob related. They're just kind of birthday cake themed, but the wrappers are all different based off of these SpongeBob characters. And I do love the fact that you have these SpongeBob and Patrick on top with the party hats, just to kind of represent the birthday fact of it. Very, very fun packaging, and I'm just glad we still get stuff like this today. Okay, now next up, this is the SpongeBob Go-Gurt. We have Strawberry Riptide and Vanilla Wave, because vanilla wouldn't have worked, strawberry wouldn't have worked, you wouldn't have known it was SpongeBob. Kids are dumb. You gotta put Wave and Riptide. Now they know it's SpongeBob. But realistically, that does make you feel like you're tasting something different. It's a placebo effect. It definitely is easier to manipulate a kid for sure. But this is the SpongeBob 20 best years ever. And ever since the release of the SpongeBob Go-Gurt, it has been a staple SpongeBob product. A lot of different branded products, they come and go. You don't see them on the shelves for a long time. The SpongeBob Go-Gurt has essentially become like a Scooby snack where they sell it year round. But this is the 20-year anniversary box for it, so I really am happy to have this one. And as with the other stuff, I wrapped them up in plastic just under the possibility that there could one day be a leak or something like that. I hope that never happens because I would rather have the Go-Gurts in there. And I do have this Go-Gurt right here, and if I ever see this one starting to leak, have some issues, whatever it may be, then that will be my time to know that I have to probably get these out of the box. But so far it's holding up. Usually plastic will hold up, but on some products that are like contained in metal or in cardboard or like very thin, like crispy plastics, they can eventually break down over time. So hopefully that never happens to these because I really enjoyed this box. And finally, a recent release, we have these SpongeBob Rice Krispie Treats. These ones actually have a SpongeBob design on the wrapper themselves, but not just that, they contain a very yellow Rice Krispie. It's pretty much just a regular Rice Krispie with a little bit more of a yellow hint to it. I have tried them before, back when they were originally released. But again, this is for the SpongeBob Sponge on the Run film that they released. Again, limited edition. Not easy to find these boxes anymore, so I'm so glad that I got a couple of the boxes and got to try them while they were available. And finally, you guys have seen this one before, probably one of the most disgusting things in the collection. They don't actually sell this variant anymore. This is the SpongeBob SpongeBob Snackers. This expired in 2019 and it is 2023, so it's 5 years old. And I will plan to keep this along with another one of these I have for as long as I possibly can. And I would love to see what all three of these things will look like. It's our own personal SpongeBob science project here in the cavern, is what these will look like year after year. And in 20, 30 years, I'm just interested to see if the pretzels as well as the cheese have emulsified into some kind of strange liquid. I highly, highly do not recommend you do this ever. I have a problem. Okay? Just don't do what you see me do. So, for the additions of SpongeBob food products, we have hand-decorated cookies. We have the pineapple plunge cookie mix. We have the SpongeBob baby carrots. We have the SpongeBob cocoa and waffle bars. We have the SpongeBob berry squeezers. We have SpongeBob string cheese. In Australia, Pizza Hut had a collaboration with SpongeBob and made their own SpongeBob sauce for their pizzas. We have SpongeBob multivitamin fizzy drink. We have SpongeBob Pirates Booty, which we did try on this channel. You know how much I love some Pirates Booty. We have SpongeBob Honey Made Crackers. SpongeBob Mini Breakfast Biscuits. Probably could have been in breakfast, but we found it now. SpongeBob Potato Shapes. We have the Lunch Bites. We have Pineapple Fruit Cups. Apple Slices. SpongeBob Spinach. SpongeBob Ice Cream Lollies. SpongeBob Chocolate Bobs. Mini SpongeBob Milk Chocolate Snacks. And many, 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 many more. There is more than we could possibly cover in one video. Maybe in the future, 5 years from now, we'll be documenting some more stuff we've added to the collection, and maybe we'll go over some new ones, but there's way too many to go over. Let's just go ahead and move on to our next category. So next up, we're gonna be looking at some of these SpongeBob dinner options. Again, we do not have everything in the collection quite here, but we do have a good amount of them. For examples, one of the most notable and famous SpongeBob dinners is the macaroni and cheese. So right here we have the ocean blue colored mac and cheese, and we have the original box for the regular macaroni and cheese. And on the back of them, you'll see you have a postcard right here that says Aloha from Bikini Bottom. And even on the box itself, you'll see there's bubbles going all the way up, just to kind of show that SpongeBob, even though he's on this cover of his Kraft mac and cheese, he is still underwater. And on this one, you don't get the bubbles, but you do get those Hawaiian flowers on the top. And also, if you cut out this piece in the back, you can actually make a little standee like diagram slash little cardboard street as well. But when it comes to the mac and cheese, I definitely need to collect more of them. There is so many though. So the ones that I always just prioritize to collect were these two right here. But I will be looking out for the other stuff. But as you guys see with everything that I collect, if you focus on one thing too much, you're just missing something else in another category. There's always something to collect for SpongeBob. So I just focus on the stuff that I grew up with when it comes to a lot of the food products. But I definitely want to get some of the other SpongeBob variants, including this Pest of the West mac and cheese, which is kind of sick. Next up, I have right here the SpongeBob hot sauce, which we actually did a taste test of this on the channel. I just wanted to feature this one because this is a newer product, and it's just cool to see that SpongeBob and its licensed products have not died, and they continue to release new and fun products just like this. So many new things come out almost every single month for SpongeBob, and I love it. And then next up, one that was kind of ballsy to keep, but I probably shouldn't have because it's kind of expanding a little, is the SpongeBob Lunchables. So you can see there's a little bubble on the back of this one. This was for the Sponge on the Run movie. You could have won, not instantly, as with other products, but within time, you could have won 1 of 5 tropical stays in the Pineapple Suite at the Nickelodeon Hotel Resort. Now you see how much more realistic that sounds?
Yeah.
Than 100 Caribbean cruises? Something's off about that. 5, I can see happening. But it is for the Sponge on the Run, and it says, "Where's Gary? Getaway sweepstakes. Find Gary inside to win." So who knows? Gary could very well be inside of this box. You know, they say many will enter, few will win. So I'm probably the many here. It's probably not in there, but you never know. And then, of course, you have the Chef Boyardee. It's another classic item you'll see get transformed for different licenses. And right here, for example, here we have a little small serving size cup of the Chef Boyardee. You just put the lid on this guy, throw it in the microwave, holds it for ventilation. And both this one, and we also have the full-size can one right here, which I will eventually have to open this up because metals do eventually corrode. So eventually, those raviolis will start to crack this and rust the bottom, and it'll start to leak out out. I've heard that information from several collectors of different things like Star Wars, really just Star Wars. I haven't had the gumption quite yet to open up this and deal with the rotting smell that may be inside of there, but one day I think I will get to it. We're gonna be moving on to drinks here in a second, but let's go ahead and talk about some of the honorable mentions that we don't have here. For example, we have the SpongeBob taco kit that comes with 2 SpongeBob taco holders. We have the Melissa's pasta for kids, which is just the mac and cheese, but without the cheese. We have the Heinz spaghetti. We have the Kid Fresh Junior burritos. We have the Kid Fresh Super Blastin' Pizza Bites. We have the Mighty Meaty meatballs. We have the potato and cauliflower tots. And even overseas, we have the SpongeBob mini pizza. And again, I'm sure there's many, many more SpongeBob food dinners, including the Kid Cuisine one as well, which is the one I would want to collect the most, is this green label Kid Cuisine box. That would be so amazing to have that box in the collection. But I wanted to mention that one as well, along with a lot of other ones that are probably out there, but these are the most notable ones we could find. Let's go ahead and move on to the drinks. So next we're talking about SpongeBob drinks, and again, there are so many of them out there, it will be impossible for us to show every single one here. But there's some that we even have in storage that I was not able to locate, but let me show you the ones that we do have. For example, we have these guys right here, which are the drink and play. They come with the drink, and they also come with the toy. The toy definitely subtracts from your drink because it's like a little hole in the drink that has the toy in it. So you get a little less drink for that toy, but at the same time, I'm sure the toys are in there are very, very cute. I have not opened up one of these to actually know what they look like, but inside of it is apple juice. They're very cute, and there are so many of these capsule drink and plays that I'll be putting on screen right now so you guys can check them out. But when I did see them, I just picked up the 2 variants that I saw, which were Patrick and also SpongeBob, of course. Next up, we have the Cool Tops as well. This is one of the most old school ones, again, being from 2002, which is some of the earliest licensed food products. And the Cool Tops, of course, has SpongeBob here, and you pop his head open in order to get to the actual drink nozzle. There's also several SpongeBob Good to Grows. I have many of them in the collection, but due to the fact that they take up so much space, I have them all in the Nickelodeon vault right now. But I did want to bring this one out and mention the Good to Grow brand, along with the Good to Grow pods that are like kind of like the same thing, but a little pod character on top. We have those also in the collection, which I wish I had them here to document, but like I said, I was not able to get to them right now. And as of recently, thanks to an awesome member of the Rep Pack named A Castle, aka Adam Castle, he's also on Patreon, so thank you so much, King Adam, for the support. He sent us over these guys right here, which are the new Path water bottles for SpongeBob, Patrick, and we're currently still missing Squidward, and maybe he may be sending me a sealed case of some of these as well too that we could add to the collection. But for right now, these guys are definitely doing the job for me, and I can't wait to find that Squidward one eventually. But like I said, I wish that we would have brought more drink variation options from the collection, but let me go ahead and talk about the honorable mention. We have the SpongeBob NZ fruit drinks. We have the SpongeBob party drink. We have the SpongeBob Water Co bottles. We have the SpongeBob belly washers, which is essentially like they're pretty much the same mold that they also use again for those Good to Grows. We have the SpongeBob Goody Gulp chocolate for SpongeBob and strawberry for Patrick. We have the SpongeBob bubble drink, which is an overseas product as well. We have the SpongeBob orange juice. We have the SpongeBob liquid fruit that comes with several different flavors. We have the SpongeBob purified Nickelodeon water, and again, many, many more. But that's just a couple honorable mentions I wanted to bring up. Let's go ahead and check out, like I said, the most abundant category by far, candy. So SpongeBob candy, there is no way to fully cover every single product release, especially when you're talking overseas. So assume that we are going to miss some, and of course, we are going to get into the gummy Krabby Patties. That is going to be our main feature towards the end. But let's talk about the dispensers. So with all the different candies that were released, there was also many dispensers. For example, here I have the SpongeBob gumball machine. I don't typically put this one on display merely because of the fact that it's very like Christmas-y themed. So hopefully one day I'm looking to get another one of these that I can keep out of the box to put on display. But this itself is a gumball machine. You twist on SpongeBob's tire right here and it will release a gumball. I actually don't know where the gumball comes out, and I'm not gonna question it. And it came with gumballs, so that would be considered a SpongeBob candy, I guess, because of the fact that it has gumballs. But this is made by Frankfurt, and it's also the same company that makes the gummy Krabby Patties. And under the Nick Candy line, we had several of these different candies, but these tube toppers were iconic and some of my favorite things to collect on this channel. This one is still on the top because this one's still like new, but there were countless different variations of these toppers they released, and honestly, like like 9 times out of 10, I'd pick this over a Funko Pop. I love Funko Pops. I have a lot of them, but like this came with candy and it's so freaking cool. Like it's such a cool little profile of the character. It's like it's so much more unique and it looks like the character. And then right here we have the Christmas version for Patrick as well. We have SpongeBob right here with the bubble wand. These things are just beautiful. And like I said, I mean, I have a lot of Funko Pops because that's what they release nowadays, but personally, if they still made stuff like this, I would have shelves of these things just across the whole room. They are awesome. They were so popular, they even released mini versions of them, which you guys can see. This is why I keep both these in the room as examples, as they are the same versions of each other, but this one comes with bubble gum. It kind of looks a little bit like Pop Rocks, and dude, that's the best kind of bubble gum. Those little rocky ones that come out like that. Oh, it's so delicious. And this one you can see still sealed as well, so I'm not gonna open it up, but they were very, very popular, so much, like I said, that they had to actually make mini versions of these too. And they even released a SpongeBob gumball machine, you guys can see here as well, which some variations did come with gumballs, but this one right here, we do have the box for it and all, but I just think this guy's so amazing, I have to keep it out of box. And it actually kind of gives me those same kind of topper vibes that we had with the actual candy toppers. And we also have many different candy dispensers such as this. I could not even bring all of them for these examples. They had so much stuff to cover. They have bag clip poppers that have like a candy dispenser on the bottom. They have this one right here where it has like a little slider and releases candy as well. There is so many variations of little candy mechanisms that it's unreal and too hard to cover every single one. But on top of that, my favorites are the interactive ones. So more recently, we've had these, which are the pop-ups. You push this guy up and it splits open SpongeBob's body in order to give you the actual sucker or whatever you have inside of there. And of course, we have those in the collection sealed as well. But more cool than that, I gotta say, are the interactive ones that actually have features. For example, one of our fan blade ones right here that actually has a working fan on it. They have released several of these over the time, and I'm still looking out for the most powerful one to blow me all the way to Bikini Bottom. And they also have right here these spin pops. They have several versions of these as well, but this one is still rocking its original batteries. And finally, on dispensers, we can't talk about candy dispensers without mentioning the #1 and the most old school of candy dispensers. That is the Pez dispensers. There are several SpongeBob Pez dispensers, all of which contain SpongeBob, Patrick, Squidward, and sometimes variations of SpongeBob with his underwear. And the most, I guess, oddball character of any of them would be Gary the Snail. They never released a Sandy, a Mr. Krabs, or any of those other characters I would have loved to see. But a couple years back, they actually released the golden SpongeBob Pez dispenser, which there was only one of 1,000 that came in that variant box case. You guys saw me order over probably 200, 300 of these Pez dispensers in order to get these ones, and I got lucky enough to actually get 2 of them. And now sealed in the box, these guys go for hundreds of dollars, so I'm so glad that we were able to get some of these to archive in the collection, and I probably will never be opening them, even though they are still good. These don't go bad till 2025. That's unreal, Mitchell.
Hard for chalk to go bad, I guess.
So talking about old school candy, there has been a few different things. We have these SpongeBob Toon Pops. There was also Toon Pops for other Nickelodeon characters as well, and I've been trying to collect all the different flavors. As of so far, I've been able to collect the green and also the red version. Watermelon and green apple, because I still just call flavors whatever color they are these days. I haven't grown out of that. And they also, speaking of suckers, released many different candy-based gelatin suckers, none of which have held up. He has seen better days.
He's real tan now.
He's a very tan SpongeBob there. But they did put a lot of detail. You can see the coral, the little like leaves.
Yeah, it's actually really sick though.
Like that stuff didn't turn black, just the SpongeBob did. But those do not hold up, but I still am glad to have one in the, oh man, that thing is harder than a diamond. That thing is so hard. There's no way you could squish that at all anymore. But incredible that we still have one to archive in the collection here. And they also released one of my personal favorites growing up. They used to have also these tongue painters where you have a little paintbrush that was made out of candy and you dunked it into this paint powder and you could paint your tongue with the flavors. That was really popular at the time, so they also released a Nickelodeon version being the Diggin' Dips right here, where you can actually dig in with your SpongeBob popsicle right here into this sour powder goodness on the bottom. Ain't no powder, it's a very solidified powder now. But inside of there was sour powder in there. And man, I remember eating these. They were so good. Awesome product nonetheless. One of my favorites. And of course, it's very on brand with SpongeBob, being that it's a little treasure chest that contains all that goodness. And they still, like I said, they are still holding up today. We have this one that was sent in by McKenna in 2022. Thank you so much, McKenna. Like, you guys are literally some of the reasons we're able to keep growing this collection so much, because right now I live in Southern California and a lot of stuff I just never get to see on the shelves. So a lot of people sending stuff in helps so much in being able to archive so many cool items. So it's so cool to see that even today they are still rocking out with SpongeBob popsicles coming out, like the SpongeBob Krabby Patty and also a heart they released, I think probably around Valentine's Day. And I'm very interested to see, and in 20 years will we get another black SpongeBob. And also recently they released these guys right here that Mitchell actually picked up in the morning one day before we were filming. We have the SpongeBob and the Patrick chocolate bars. These guys are definitely not gonna look this way in 20 years. We've seen what happens to chocolate over time.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm very interested to see in like 5-10 years what's gonna happen to these guys. A new addition to our Comfort Cartoon science projects. And also another item that will probably be something that I will regret keeping on to. We have the SpongeBob SquarePants advent calendar that they released in 2020. And each one of these advent calendars has a different surprise. Chocolate in every single one. There's no surprise. The next day is chocolate. The day after that is chocolate. The final day, guess what it is? Chocolate! But I'm assuming one day these pouches will pop from the disgusting chocolate that is within them. But until then, it makes a very, very cool chocolate display piece. And that is where we're going to stop with talking about the candies for now, excluding the final two that are the most abundant. One being the Easter egg variants. This right here is the Nicktoons Easter eggs, which also contains SpongeBob, of course, the Fairly Odd Parents, Blue, and also Dora and Diego. But this is merely scratching the nucleus, I might say, of SpongeBob Easter eggs. There are so many SpongeBob Easter eggs. Every year, they release new SpongeBob Krabby Patty or different candy Easter eggs, usually 2 to 4 different variants in different stores every year. So if you do that across 20 years, you're talking about like probably anywhere from 60 to 100 different SpongeBob Easter egg variants. But I did want to use this one as an example since it is culminating so many different shows into one. Okay, so now we are talking about the king of SpongeBob products, the product that has stayed around from the start of being released all the way till today. It started out as a Nick candy product that was made with many other Nickelodeon candies that were creatively designed, as we've seen, like the dip over here and also the Toon Pops. So it was made to just be one of those many candies that stayed around for a little while and then eventually went away just to promote the show. And that is the gummy Krabby Patties. Of course, we all know, well, those that are like, 25 and older, you probably know that they've had these burgers before even the gummy patties. So they just kind of took that gummy burger, gummy pizza shtick or design and brought it into SpongeBob with the gummy Krabby Patties. And these were designed by Frankfurt. This right here is one of the original Nick candy boxes, and not just that, one of the rarest variants, because this is actually a cinema box, one you would have gotten at the movie theater. But I'm so proud to have this box in the collection. I've been looking for this for many years, so I'm glad to have this one. 2002 release. And the patties, they do not look great, but you can tell they're patties,
They look like actual, almost like burgers now instead of the candy that they normally are, yeah.
Exactly, like they still look like they're shaped, so I'm happy that that's still there. But you guys can see we have a newer variant of the box right here because they were such a successful hit under the Nick Candy line that Frankfurt decided to take it under its wing as a all-year ongoing SpongeBob candy. So much so that SpongeBob's Krabby Patties are like M&Ms. They're like Skittles. They're a candy in themselves. I think that they don't even really make gummy burgers anymore because the market's been so capitalized on the Krabby Patty burgers, and it's been such a huge success that still today you can go to any store, whether it be Walmart, Target, Five Below especially, and you can find gummy Krabby Patties. So right here we have a newer box right here. This one's from 2021, and of course Krabby Patties have come in the original flavors. They eventually released the colored patties right here when the original box box, they donned SpongeBob with a color palette, very pretty Patty-esque. They missed that opportunity, but that's definitely what they are nodding at. They have the more recently released, the Krabby Patties Watermelon, and we also got the Jumbo Patties, which have come in green apple, grape, the blueberry, the best of all, the cherry, I would rather drink Robitussin, and of course the original and the Jumbo Patties, and they even released these box figures that contain several different wobblers. We have the entire collection in the collection right now, including the gold one, and that would come with a Jumbo Patty as well. We're gonna mention some other variations that I don't have in their collection that I'm looking out for towards the end here, but let's continue on. They also released the double deluxe with cheese versions of the Krabby Patty by Frankfurt as well. Of course, all these will be by Frankfurt. I'm so happy they did because this is an awesome box. Bubble bath level of gummy. They also released the gummy sliders as well, which comes with 3 gigantic Krabby Patties. This is the 20-year anniversary box for that. And we cannot forget the very disgusting, and probably will look more disgusting with time, the newly released in 2022 SpongeBob Coal Krabby Patties that were released for Christmas. I don't see them bringing this one back.
What flavor is that? What the
It's
heck?
black cherry.
Oh, no, probably not.
And we've seen many, many different shape variants of the SpongeBob Krabby Patties, including right here, you will see the heart-shaped ones, and one that I don't have available at this moment, but we do have in the collection as well, is the X's and O's sliders as well. When we're talking about the Krabby Patties, they go far and beyond the candy themselves. I have a couple of variations here, but there is a unbelievable amount of repackagings of the candy. Right here, we have a plush box set right here. Right here, one that comes with the candy and also a burger mug. Back here, I have several tins that at one point came with Krabby Patties as well. They have several Easter egg boxes that come with Krabby Patties too, as I mentioned. There is a lot, but let's talk about our honorable mentions when it comes to candy. First off, let's talk about our honorable mentions for the Krabby Patty gummies. One of the ones that I would love to add to this original set of flavors here is the sour gummies. There was at one point sour Krabby Patty gummies. They are discontinued, but man, that sounds delicious.
Yeah, I wonder why they like quit. They just sound so good.
It's because sour sounds amazing, but sour pineapple doesn't sound that good. Because the buns, a lot of people don't know, the buns are actually pineapple flavored. The inside is strawberry and apple. That sounds great sour. But pineapple sour, maybe not. Maybe that's why they've discontinued them. Who knows? And they also released at one point a 1-pound jumbo gummy Krabby Patty.
Dang.
Yes, that is the one that I would want to add the most to the collection, because those are the 3 variations I'd love to add to this whole little setup here. But that jumbo one is so hard to find. One day maybe we'll get lucky enough to find that jumbo Krabby Patty. If you're one of the crazy people that collects food like me and you have one, again, reach out to me and I'd love to pick one up from you. But on that note, there are probably more variations of Krabby Patties that are out there. Those are the notable ones we wanted to talk about today. And finally, let's talk about our notable variants for candy as a whole. So notable candies that existed, again, this will not be covering all of them, but just some notable ones I wanted to bring up. You have the SpongeBob Marshmallow Lollipop. You have the very interesting Marshmallow Circus Peanuts. You have the new Magic Hair SpongeBob candies with Patrick, SpongeBob, and Squidward. You have the 20-year anniversary SpongeBob candy bar set. You have the Hershey's SpongeBob candy bar, which I do have the wrapper for that one, but it's in our files. We have the SpongeBob Bubblegum by Bubble Yum, which would be so cool to actually get. We have the SpongeBob Hot Chocolate with marshmallow pineapple inside. We have the SpongeBob Candy Canes with marshmallow figures of the characters. We have the SpongeBob White Chocolate Pineapple Bar. We have the SpongeBob Chocolate figure with demonic blue eyes. We have the SpongeBob Lollipop Rings, SpongeBob Top Stick Candy, and many, many, many more. That was a lot of stuff to cover, man.
No, a lot of candy.
A lot of food in general. That was a long video. We've been out here for hours. So hit the like button, all right, guys? And go follow on Patreon, where you can get an extended version of this video along with everything else and support the insanity that we have to go through sometimes to cover this awesomeness. But on that note, we have covered all variations of SpongeBob food products in the weird world that exist. SpongeBob food products. And documented the ones we have currently accessible in the collection today. Eventually, somewhere down the line, we'll do an updated version of this video with the newer stuff we've added. But I want to add a lot more stuff before we do that next update. But again, thank you guys so much for watching this long video. It was a blast filming it, and me and Mitchell both learned so much new stuff that we didn't even know during the research of this video. And shout out to Ryan as well for all of the images that you've seen throughout this video. It has probably been a rough time trying to find every single thing. So a lot of work went into this video. This is gonna be hard. You know the drill. Scan it! So guys, that is actually it for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed this extensive look at the crazy world of SpongeBob foods. We had a blast filming it, but as always, it was even more fun doing it with you. So thank you so much for being here. If you guys haven't already, go check out the Patreon where you'll get an extended version of this video along with every other video that we upload and a personal video message from me to you as a thank you. And if you guys don't know, we're on Whatnot 2 times a week, Wednesdays and Friday, and you get $15 off your first purchase. So make sure you guys go take advantage of that free $15. There's a bunch of different SpongeBob products that are on there actually. A lot of people have been listing new stuff on there, vintage, Funko Pops, you name it. So go get free $15 off. As a collector, you guys know I'm always trying to get a deal or save as well, so I couldn't recommend it more. And I'll see you guys over here in this video I know you're gonna love. And as always, Rep Pack, I will see you beautiful people in the next one. Adios. Bloop.